So, hi, Thomas and Anne Catherin. Thank you very much for sitting down with me to talk about your work on The Ugly Stepsister, which has been nominated for an Oscar. I mean, that's amazing. Like, can you tell us a little bit about, first off, that response that you've had having that nomination?
We have had a lot of response. I
Yes.
mean, an overwhelming amount of actually attention about it. So that has been quite amazing, and it yeah. So it's a lot of attention
A
actually.
lot of interviews and a lot of so yeah,
Yeah,
it's a bit noisy. But yeah.
it's amazing. It's putting sort of Nordic cinema sort of on, you know, this sort of Western world and put it on this platform, which is amazing. And I think it's definitely got a lot more people talking about Nordic cinema, which is what we love here over at Nordic Watchlist. And obviously, you guys have worked together a lot on various films before, like Men and Chicken and other projects. Was it nice to come back together and work and collaborate on this one?
Yeah, it's super easy for us to work together. We have like different fields
Hmm.
and overlapping as well, of course. And we kind of build up a language
Hmm.
over the years, and it goes really fast, like describing ideas and so. So yes, but it is kind of a little bit. Thomas has his part of the playground, and I have mine part of
Hmm.
the playground,
Yeah,
and together it merges into characters.
Oh,
but
brilliant.
but also being able to do a project like this together that contains so much different stuff was extremely interesting and of course very inspiring. So that was a big part of it as well. It's I think I really feel lucky that a project like that actually came on board.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah,
both a lot of effects and a lot of beauty and a lot of hairstyling, and so
yeah.
it's like a full cake. Yeah.
Yeah, you put all the pieces together and you put the icing on top, and it's become this amazing sort of gothic horror. So, how excited were you to receive that script from Emily? Like knowing that you could play around and have those sort of challenges ahead. How was that receiving something like this?
It was super interesting, but again, receiving a script like this in Scandinavia usually means that most of it will be taken out of it because of budget reasons or time reasons. So it was interesting. I was contacted quite a long time before shooting started, so there was actually time to do the stuff, but I didn't expect that there would be a budget for everything. But it happened that there was, and it happened that Emily was really serious about wanting all this stuff, and then you know getting to know her and finding out that okay, it was a main part of the film, the whole makeup effects, prosthetic thing, whether it be in character makeup on Elvira or the more gory stuff. Um, that it was so much of her story as well. So she didn't want to write anything out. So we just had to kind of find out how to do all of that. So yeah,
Amazing. I mean, you sort of touched on it there, Thomas, but obviously Elvira goes through this sort of various changes throughout the course of the film. But what I find most interesting is, correct me if I'm wrong, but you put Leah in the bodysuit and adding the sort of the cheeks and extra part. That's what I found really interesting because I was curious to know, was there discussion there between her and the director, but you actually created those sort of bits of makeup. Did you find that harder doing the more kind of subtle makeup as opposed to the more kind of grotesque stuff?
definitely, but also more interesting. I mean, that is what I try to do most stuff like that, character-driven work in one or the other way. So doing the Elvira character was definitely, of course, a focus point, but also the hardest part actually to kind of find out what and how are we going to do it because there were so many thoughts that uh, making the character she had to look younger, she had to look
Mm.
very cute, naive, and also a little softer, and not mocking anyone. It's not the point is not that, but also do a character that works in this context. And a lot of people say like, but she's like beautiful as she is, and she's or not ugly at all. But I mean that's the point
Yeah.
of it all. That yeah,
Like
so
to make her very relatable
yeah,
is
yeah,
that it should
relatable.
be.
Yeah,
Thomas did one
yeah,
test first where it was got too far away from the actor, and it would be
yeah, yeah,
too like
Mhm.
cartoony. So finding this sweet spot,
yeah.
yeah.
And also, I mean, the first test we did, she was both a bit bigger, but
Mm.
with that, she also became a little older in some
Mm.
strange way. So we really had to do something to make. make her look believably younger.
Yeah, she definitely almost goes through kind of like an adolescence in that transition as well, and you can see that through those
Yeah,
sort of small details. So that was a really, really effective detail.
thank you.
Did you do anything? I was curious to know. Did you do anything to the supporting actors' makeup? The sort of extras around uh, our main
Yeah,
character to enhance that kind of makeup. Did you kind of bring other people
only
down?
thing. Yeah, the only thing I did is that her sister
Mm,
has a small nose, just to give him kind of the same silhouette.
yeah.
So she's wearing a nose throughout the film,
Ah.
and that's the only thing I did on any of the supporting actors. So yeah,
Yeah, and I did it like to lift everything a little bit. Like it is kind of a period drama within a period drama, so
Yeah.
a fairy tale. So we tried to kind of lift everybody a little bit by adding extra hair, adding extra makeup. I know now there's been Bridgerton, but it's not that normal that you add like glam makeup in a
Yeah.
period movie, and we tried to be very true to every character, like what would this character look like in this universe, but
Yeah.
still relatable and still real, like not exaggerating it so you would get remote from the characters. So it's like all little extra pieces of hair and things.
Yeah. It's that got that kind of steampunk aesthetic, but with the period drama that feels quite grounded. So I think it blends it perfectly. Did you and Catherine, did you do anything else like to submerge those characters, especially in the hair and makeup, then sort of collaborating? Because I love there's a scene with the stepmother when her hair's just like brushed out. She looks almost like a witch. Like, was there sort of that collaboration there and those little details that maybe people have missed?
Yeah, yeah. No, it's mainly that we thought how would all character look like in every situation.
Mm.
And of course, when she's sleeping, she's not wearing this updo with the braids and everything. So we within this universe, we tried to make it as real as possible. That everybody was exaggerated and everybody was fitting in within this universe. And then at the same time, there should be some kind of logic, like what would Elvira look like when her hair was down and not in the ringlets, and what would mom look like if she had sex with a young guy, and what would, or that was before that, but different kinds of situations. So the whole thing is very real and realistic, but totally unrealistic at the same time, and a little bit cartoony. And we tried to like not make it so Disney, which is very clean, but made it with a lot of like every character has a lot of detail in them. And every character has kind of a twist and a turn. Like you kind of over romanticize the prince in the beginning, and then first time we see him, he's actually really vulgar. So we like made him dirty and all little kinds of things like that. Just so it's like every scene is really thought through, like how would we have the viewer to conceive this person in this scene.
Yeah.
Little things.
Yeah. I mean, for me, one of the most visual and gruesome scenes was the eyelash attachment scene. It reminded me personally, I don't know if you drew upon this, but like Clockwork Orange or like Terry Gilliam's Brazil. Were there any films that you inspired in those like scenes or just across it generally?
Yeah, but actually, mostly the Dario Argento film that is it Suspiria. Now I forgot, but with the needles. That was actually one of the first. It was just a still that Emily showed from that. She was just very interested in that thing with the eyes and the needles close to the eyes. So that was actually kind of not the inspiration, but kind of set the tone of the effect. That was the feel of it. So yeah, in that sense. But I understand why you say the other ones as well. But
anything with eyes is going to make people squeamish, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
But
there
that's also the relatable part, is like what it feels like to get something in your eye, and then a needle. You can imagine it's still within reach of imagination.
Yeah. Are there any films that you were inspired sort of in your work in general that, whether it's, other horror films like Hellraiser or anything like that? Is anything other makeup designers that you aspire and bring to your work?
For me, I have to say that I try not to look at any other. I mean, I try not to imitate other stuff. I think it's really important in my work as well, especially, not especially, but I really try not to look into too much old stuff that has been done, because it's so easy to get carried away, and suddenly you're copying something and so on and so on. So I try not to be inspired by films, but more like it could be a painting or some kind of art piece, or even a written word would be more interesting to me to do that. And also, of course, reality, but it's not that often I actually look at pictures of real stuff, because I think we're in a kind of entertainment industry, so it's interesting to find a middle ground in something that looks one way or the other interesting. Yeah.
I find it more like I'm kind of like a fly paper. Can you say that? Like a sticky piece of paper. So like everything I see kind of adheres to me, and I don't particularly watch. Sometimes I do, but I don't particularly watch other movies, because then it's like you think very much about, I'm gonna do it like that or not like that, and both things are super annoying. But it's like everything sticks to you. You see somebody on the street, you watched an old movie when you were a teenager, you go to an art museum. Pretty similar to Thomas.
Yeah. I mean, we sort of subliminally take on a lot of influence every day, don't we? So I guess it's probably in there somewhere, but not direct references. Did you guys have a proudest sort of moment or scene in the film which involved either or both of your work together?
I think for me it must be Elvira and the look of her, especially in the beginning. Because it was so nice to do this character first of all, and it was so nice to see it all come to life with the hair work, of course, but also Leah's acting. It was really I think a special moment to see it actually work, and see her acting in it. So that's it, definitely, yeah, for me.
Yeah, I will say something like the whole development of the character, and that the whole movie has this, that it really feels like it's a whole movie. So it's really hard to take out one particular thing and say it's more that it worked, having her transition from the beginning and the awkward teenager into the beauty of this universe, and then it falling apart again, which is mainly Thomas.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a whole team effort, and that process is there, and there's flow between it all, and the kind of the subliminal things we're not even noticing on the first watch. But yeah, it's magical. I guess just you saying then, Thomas, about the makeup and the performance. Do you sort of allow for that when it comes to, in terms of actually casting for actresses? Do you allow them to have movement? Do you know that there's going to be flex physically? Do you have to consider that?
A lot, yeah. I mean, I've always felt that adding something to an actor should be as little limiting as possible, and they should be able to act as if there wasn't anything. I think that must be the key element, and of course, it's not always possible, but I'll do my best to do it. But also considering a lot about movements, how does it work in the best way? If a piece looks good but moves really bad, then I would rather redesign it and do something different. But again, it also takes an actor that's aware of how the body works, and what they can do, because then it gets really interesting and really good if they can play through it and have that kind of sensibility towards what to exaggerate and what not to. I mean, that's a special what do you call it? Maneuver to do that. And they just happen to be really, really good at it, and not being affected at all with wearing all this stuff, which is throughout the whole film. In the beginning, it's one thing, and then the whole transition is a different thing. But also the beauty part is
she shines through everything.
Through everything, and seems unaffected by it.
And she's not afraid of touching it. And you should mention that there's a lot of touching of the prosthetics, which also gives this real feeling.
Yeah, and we had us with the nose clamp, and there's a lot of tight stuff. A lot, and it's all problematic to do that, but it also makes it read more realistically, because stuff just happens, and exactly she's pulling her cheeks, and
yeah, it makes it more tactile and they can play with it and
Yes.
we can believe it more. So how have you found the film afterwards and sort of getting this nomination, the response? Have you found more people maybe drawn to makeup and hair department? Have you had people sort of approach you since this film?
Well, we have all the fan art. We have quite a lot of people doing fan art. And I don't know if you've seen it, but if you go on TikTok and
Find it.
yeah, there's really a lot. And I think that that's amazing. That's amazing that you make something and you create a character. And I think Elvira is more than one character. And each of her characters has a fan base and there's makeup tutorials. And that is really like also why you do films, is like to reach people. And it's so touching that so many young people especially have been touched by this movie. And I think that's amazing. That's really amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Is there any future collaborations between yourselves going forward? Can we expect any more of this duo?
If somebody calls, there is.
Yeah, there is. We just did a Polish movie together, which is,
yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Something will probably come up.
Yeah.
Bigger, more gruesome, more challenges on the way, I feel. But yeah.
Let's hope so, that people get inspired to not be so afraid of doing these kind of things, because there is also kind of a rise of horror that is being lifted into both mainstream and being accepted as actual art. And that is very nice. And we hope that will be inspirational, that there is 3 horror movies in the nominations this year, and that's really great.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's been a kind of genre that's been underrepresented or like, acknowledged in the kind of Oscars. So this is such an amazing milestone as well.
And it's so interesting that the paradox in horror being kind of neglected from a lot of awards generally, when you think about that both if it's Hitchcock or if it's George Romero, or I mean, it's a genre that's really a foundation of a lot of modern movie making, and has been all the time since the first Frankenstein film, and then still not considered as art, and everybody sees these iconic films, and nobody would talk about Psycho not being fantastic. So it's so interesting that a genre that's really have brought so much to how you actually tell a story, film it, shoot it, whatever.
And also diving into the subconscious, there's things we carry within ourselves, and you can tell a lot of meaningful things.
A lot of stories.
A lot of traumatic stories. That seems to be like a sort of thread that people talk about in horrors.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think this is one that's going to sort of stand the test. Or people will come back to it if they've missed it. Maybe it'll become a cult classic. But I loved this film last year, and I've been shouting about it. So I just wish you guys the best of luck for Sunday, and I hope you get the win. I really do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We're happy anyway. We're happy. Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.